technical issues. We start.
Technical issues. Technical issues.
Okay, going to unmute. Continue. Okay. Yes. Good morning again, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Mangadidi Kotla. I am Sergeant at Arms here at Bryanston Breakfast Toastmasters Club. I would like to welcome all of you, and I hope you will enjoy today's session. So without wasting any time, as we are running late due to technical issues that we encountered this morning, I'm going to hand over to our president to open the meeting. Yeah. Oh.
Thank you so much, Mangadidi, Sergeant at Arms. Members, guests here, welcome to our Toastmasters meeting. And again, apologies for the late start. We'd like to welcome our area director, Mara, and other guests that are here, and those who are coming back again. I won't waste time, I'll just read. So my name is Tanegam Mxenge. I'm the president. I'd like to read the Toastmasters promise. Can you hear us? Everyone can hear me, right?
Yes.
Thank you. As a member of Toastmasters International and Bryanston Breakfast Toastmasters Club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly. I do. Please repeat after me and say I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
To prepare all my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program.
I do.
I do.
To prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments.
I do.
I do.
To provide fellow members with helpful constructive evaluations.
I do.
To
I
help
do.
the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow.
I do.
promise to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so.
I do.
To treat my fellow club members and guests with respect and courtesy.
I
To
do.
bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits of Toastmasters membership, the benefits Toastmaster membership offers. To
I do.
adhere to guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs. To act
do.
within Toastmasters core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters meetings.
I do.
Thank you so much. With that, I would like to welcome our Toastmaster, Mr. Adrian Hines.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and everybody that's online there. First of all, I want to mention what our theme is today and what the word of the day is. Our theme is, as I can look over there on, read it out for me, please. Okay, now I'm going to explain what we mean by attitude. Attitude is more important than aptitude. Aptitude is all about your knowledge that you're capable of mental this and that there. Now, attitude is something very special, and I received, and I'm going to try and play it, what attitude is all about. Was it you who sent it to me, or was it? It was our president, I think, who sent it to me. I'm going to play it. Hopefully it sort of comes out there. But it's a good example of what attitude is all about.
I stood up.
Hang on.
Stood up on that podium, and all all that I could say was, I felt so dumb. But now just look how far I come, yeah, that's true. And I'm prepared. Go on and
I like it. How's it, babes? Come.
Okay.
Who helped me succeed? Toastmasters family to give me confidence to lead. When I was asked to take the floor and speechify, did you think I'd tremble? Did you think my mouth would get too dry? Oh no, not I. Toastmasters pride. Yes, they helped me find the courage that was buried deep inside. I've got lots of honest folks who'll help me with my jokes. Yeah, I got pride. Toastmasters pride. There were times when I lost faith and I began to doubt. It seemed like there were no more topics left to talk about. All my courage disappeared. All my metaphors were weird, but I persevered. Toastmasters help me face my fears. Now you see me. A DTM. I'm so distinguished I can lecture with the best of them. I got my timing to a T, and my grammarian loves me. And I can stand up self-assured and just be who I want to be. I once was bad. I couldn't toast. I used to blink a lot. I used to stand there like a post. Wasn't I the one who had trouble saying hi? Do I tremble? You think I'm still so awfully shy? Oh no, not I. Toastmasters pride. I'm much stronger and I'm looking forward to my pathways right. I can land that perfect gig. I can start the thing real big, cause I've got pride. Toastmasters pride. The meetings rock. I see my friends. I see them growing. The inspiration never ends. And when I travel, there are meetings to attend all around the world now. And on that I can depend. It's worldwide. Toastmasters pride. Toastmasters pride. Oh, as long as there's a Toastmasters, I know they're on my side. Now I sound like I make sense, and I got brand new confidence, and I've got pride. Toastmasters pride. Toastmasters
Pride. You honestly, if you didn't see the video, you must watch the
Right,
video.
thank
It's
you
fantastic.
very much, especially the audience here in front of me who've been swinging and waving the arms around in time to the music there. But now it's my time to introduce some of the people that are going to be involved today. I've got the agenda, but I don't have any names here, so I'm going to put it out there. First of all, we need an R counter. Anybody wants to volunteer to be an R counter? There we've got, I've forgotten your name again. Kaliswa, sorry. I have my senior moments. So Kaliswa, you're our counter. Can you tell us basically what you're going to be doing?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kaliswa. I will be playing a role of an art counter and a dramatic. An art counter, I will be listening to the catchwords that are used by the speakers during this time of the meeting, such words such as and so on. I will also be playing a role of the grammarian, in which I will be listening to a good use of the English language and that as well. I've seen yesterday, I've sent the word of the day, which is attitude. Attitude, according to the Oxford.
When was that dictionary printed?
It's very, very brown and faded at the edges there.
Okay. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, attitude is a way of thinking.
So, Dino or Adrian, when someone wants to speak, they must go up to the front because the virtual people can't hear. And it's a good thing to practice to get behind the podium. And I've said it before, I'm sorry. And Dino, we can't hear you at all right now. Yeah. I'm watching your hand gestures and I'm thinking that's what you're asking them to do. Or am I the only virtual person who's struggling to hear? Where are the rest of you?
No, you're not the only one, Tanya.
Okay, good. All right. It's a moment to get up there and speak, but now we've lost all sound, you know. The hybrid world is difficult.
I'm not sure if Adrian's calling on the timer.
I'm not sure what's happening at the moment. I'm waiting for Dino or Tandeka to give some direction here.
Well,
I still haven't found my glasses. So my eyes are killing me.
It looks like Dino is trying to connect to another device. Perhaps if you can just give a moment so that they can fix it. Can be very difficult with technology. So let's just be patient.
He's switched on another device at the moment. I can see that.
Yes.
It says connecting to audio.
Yeah, I think we can assist them by just being
patient. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Tanya?
Yes, perfect.
You're asking.
Perfect.
Sorry, Tanya. I lost connection on my cell phone. Okay. Adrian is asking for the general evaluator.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, cool.
So thank you, Adrian. The responsibility of the general evaluator is to make sure that the various players who are giving feedback to the speakers are well prepared. I probably didn't realize that because I thought I was a timekeeper today. So I might have faltered there a little bit. Then we're going to break out and we're going to do a chit chat and then give feedback to the speakers on the speeches that they delivered and then possibly the overall meeting. So that's the responsibility as I understand it. Happy?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for making that very clear to us all.
Thank you.
Okay, we're ready for our first speaker. Speaker number 1 is Juma. Juma, how do you pronounce it? Juma. I apologize for mispronouncing your name. What can you sort of come up to the podium now and give your speech? I'm not sure what the name of that speech is. Yeah, I got out. Who's doing the evaluations now?
I am.
Yeah.
What she's going to be doing.
Okay.
Oh, you only said
I'm your evaluator for your speech.
Oh, but no, the first one.
Who we got for evaluating tumor?
It's me. I thought it was me. Do you know?
You. Oh,
The evaluator.
People online, would you like to volunteer to tumor speech to evaluate it?
Matt told me this morning that I'm the evaluator, so surprised, but I'm in. What I understand is you are on the path of presentation mastery. I hope that is correct. And the purpose of this project is to practice applying feedback and a speech evaluating during the club meeting. So it's very much about, I'm on this pathway as well, by the way. So it's very much about delivering your first speech, hearing what people have to say, and then I deliver the exact same speech the next time, but you can also deliver another speech. So it's fine, whichever one you feel comfortable with. But yeah, all the best and have fun. You have a speech length time of 5 to 7 minutes. And the speech title is Do It Anyway. That's the information I got this morning. Do it anyway. Chima, over to you. That's on again.
We look forward to your speech. If you'd like to come up to the podium and present your speech. Thank you.
Mr. Toastmasters, fellow guests, or fellow Toastmasters and guests, today I'm going to attempt to do something. Should I start again?
5 to 7 minutes.
5 to 7 minutes. Mr. Toastmasters, fellow guests, and fellow Toastmasters, today I'm going to attempt to do something I've been trying to avoid for quite some time. That is to speak without using notes. And I know some of you may look at me and you say, with that big head, you're supposed to know how to memorize. I guess so, because I do memorize other things like how much you owe me. But this one today is scary. But it also speaks to our topic this morning, which is do it anyway. The ability to do something even if it looks scary. I read something recently. It said 98% of people do not achieve their dreams in their lifetime. I didn't know that. Did you? What I knew immediately is that I'm part of that 98%, unless I do something very fast. Something that speaks to who I am. My attitude these days is this. If it speaks to me, then I do it. Until I discover what I'm supposed to do. You know what else I discovered? The reasons people don't achieve what they're supposed to achieve and be part of the 2%. I picked only 3 for this morning for you. I say for you because I'm the speaker today, but in reality, these are for me. Number 1, the what if question. What if it doesn't work out? What if I humiliate myself? What if? You see, the biggest problem with the what if question is you end up asking yourself, what if I'm not able to live with myself after all that mess that I've done? Number 2 is the one that it hits home for me. And it's not something I like talking about. People's opinions. I love writing. I grew up writing. I still write to this day. I just never published. And recently, I was listening to one of my favorite DJs because I love music. His name is DJ Khaled. They asked him, when you produce your albums, what's the process? He said, I never listen to opinions. And I was sitting there at home hoping that I could adopt that attitude for myself. People's opinion have killed more dreams than a bad high school teacher. The third one, which is something that I'm going to run very fast because it's something that I really, really hate because it's so painful for me, is the fear of change. People always say to me, Tuma, you're supposed to be a speaker. And they always say you're supposed to be a motivational speaker. You see, the obsession I have with myself is that I always consider myself very smart. And me being a speaker, me being a motivational speaker, me speaking and inspiring people, it requires me to adopt simplicity. So I suspect I'm scared of change. Because change requires a lot. It requires a new mentality, it requires a new perspective, it requires a new attitude. It can also require you to summon something that's inside of you. Courage. One of my favorite poems is called The Invitation by Oriah. It says, it doesn't matter how old you are. I want to know, would you be willing to risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, and the adventure of life? And from what I gathered is that if we could think less of what other people say, to find courage to step to the new world, and to wonder no more what Temba or Susie or new guy in the office will say about who we are, we have that small chance to jump to the other 2%. But all we need to do is to be able, in the midst of all that fear and all that intimidation, to do it anyway. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chuma. For me, that was actually very, very inspirational. And it really, really fit our theme for today. I remember why I chose that particular theme. It reminded me of my school days. I went to a technical school, and the school motto was deeds, not words. And I'd like to rephrase that: deeds, not only words. I think I would have liked to put it there. So we're here to speak words, but deeds are so important. And certainly Chuma, for me, in my old age now, in retirement, wondering what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, it gave me an inspirational speech there. Thank you. I really enjoyed that. And Gadi, you're our next speaker. And the title of your speech is?
Educating people about illegal fuel. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if you heard that, but please can you come up and give you?
I'll be the evaluator.
Okay, you're okay.
Good morning, everybody. I'll be Gadi's evaluator this morning. And so this is the second time that she will be saying this speech in front of the club. It'll be the first time me hearing it, so that's fantastic. The way that this is structured is that she's presented this. The last evaluator provided some feedback to her, and now she's just going to be honing up on her specific skill sets. What the evaluator liked the last time about her communication. Actually, no, let me rather just jump into what she would like to challenge herself on, and is with regards to being more natural on stage and Did you say about your hands that you want to make sure that they are?
Obviously, the gesture is very important and the vocal variety. But yeah, make sure I'm
Speaking. So it's a very natural way of speaking, and then the hand gestures being purposeful. So I would like to welcome up to the front, Magadi, with her title, Educating People About Illegal Fuel. Educating people about illegal fuel. Magadi.
Touch you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Can any one of you tell me if they have ever seen fuel that goes into their car? Anyone? We have seen it. Before if you refuel. No, when it spills on. Okay. I have never seen it. Last question. Can anyone of you tell me if they can differentiate between contaminated diesel and non-contaminated one? Contaminated, I mean the one that is mixed with foreign substance like paraffin. Maybe by smell, if you can smell anything different. No. Hold that thought, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, good morning. Today I'm going to shed light on the nature of illegal fuel trading, and the impact it has on legitimate fuel traders, as well as the harm it inflicts on the environment and society. So for the sake of this session, I'm only going to focus on two issues facing the fuel industry. One is theft from the pipeline due to illegal connection. The pipeline is owned and managed by Transnet, and they transport fuel on behalf of all fuel traders. It spans more than 3,000 kilometers across 5 provinces, and it pumps more than 100 million liters per week. Criminals, they illegally connect to the pipeline by tampering with it and steal fuel. Unfortunately, it cost millions of rands to the country by just tampering with the pipeline. And not only that, it can also cause environmental damage to the agriculture and rivers. I'm going to give 2 examples that have recently happened about the diesel spillage. The one, it happened in the Free State, where diesel spilled into the river, not only causing environmental damage, but also posing risk, health risk, especially to the community around, as some of the people, as you know, in South Africa, they still draw drinking water from the rivers. The other spillage happened right here in Gauteng, where diesel is spilled and it ended up mixing with water and sewage in the area. Tampering with high pressure pipeline is very dangerous. It can cause fires and explosions, which can result in horrible injuries and death, especially to those people living in the nearby area. That's not the end. The other issue with fuel theft is that it results in unfair competition to legitimate fuel traders, which means that they lose millions of rands in revenue. And not only that, it also results in job losses, new ones that could have been created, and also threatens the existing ones. The second issue that I'm going to be talking about is illegally mixing diesel with paraffin. Chemically, diesel is very similar to paraffin. So criminals, they mix paraffin, they mix diesel with paraffin in order to increase the amount of diesel and sell the product as diesel. And mainly because diesel is very expensive. Paraffin is cheaper than diesel because it's tax-free and it is meant for the poor to use for domestic purposes, for like heating, cooking, and so forth. So the issue here is that illegally mixed diesel with paraffin, it damages the engine, that is one. Two, it increases the air pollution, which is not good for the environment. And the third one is that it reduces the fuel economy. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to tell when the diesel is mixed with paraffin. By mere smell, apparently it smells the same. And as you know, we cannot even see the product that goes into our cars. The other issue that we face is that it robs the poor with the source of energy that they should be using for cooking or heating or lighting. The other is that it robs the government with taxes that they could be using for public services. And also it results again in unfair competition and job losses. So fellow Toastmasters and guests, if you are buying fuel that is cheaper than from those of other competitors, be wary, as you may be buying fuel that is stolen or illegally mixed diesel. So I call on all of you here today, fellow Toastmasters and guests, to join in and fight illegal fuel trading. It affects me and you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Right, and Gadi, thank you very much for that presentation. It was certainly an eye-opener. I just one question: if you go to a legitimate garage, let's say you go to a Shell garage, there, I mean, is there any likelihood you're going to have contaminated fuel? And how did you?
It's possible because although most of the oil or service stations, they are contracted to this major oil company, so we're supposed to be buying from them.
Oh, okay.
But because they are run by independent entrepreneurs or people, at times they are, they can fiddle and end up buying from non-legitimate players.
So there's a chain. There's quite a long chain from getting the fuel out of the earth right through to my Caltex garage. Whatever that. Thank you very much. And now let's move on to our third speaker, and that's Thandeka is going to speak to us. Who is the evaluator? Do we know?
I am, and I'm online. Godfrey.
Oh, Godfrey online. Can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, can you please tell us a little bit about Thandeka's speech, and then she'll come on and give her speech.
A very good morning to you, Bryanston Breakfast Club. I am excited to be here, and I'm introducing Thandeka's speech. The purpose of the speech is for Thandeka to practice giving a story within a speech, or to give a speech that is actually a story in itself. And so I'm excited to hear the speech from Thandeka, and the title is "The Future Lies with Refugees." The future lies with refugees, Thandeka. Madam President, over to you, and I'll see you on the other side as I give you evaluation. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Sorry, Godfrey. Oh, man.
Sorry, Godfrey. The power just tripped on my PC. Just give me 2 minutes and you're gonna have to restart your evaluation. Sorry about that. I do apologize.
No problem. No problem.
Just give me a sec. Just give it 2 minutes.
Hi.
Tanya, I've made you host, just so that this does not happen. You're a host.
Okay, thank you. Must I do anything now or what? Okay, can't hear the Tandeka, I can't hear you.
Tanya, you can't hear me?
Yeah, no, got you now. Thank you.
Okay, I'm switching off the laptop and I'm gonna try speaking from the microphone.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Sorry, everybody.
I tempered with the.
Your evaluator. Yes. Yes. Who's your evaluator? It is God. Yeah. Hello, guys.
Would you like me to introduce it again?
Absolutely, Godfrey. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Bryanston Breakfast Toastmasters Club. I'm excited to be here. The purpose of Tandega's speech is for her to practice using a story in a speech, or to actually give a speech that is driven by a story. All the best Tandega is to give this speech. The title of the speech is "The Future Lies with Refugees." The future lies with refugees. Let's welcome Tandega, and I'll see you on the other side when I give you feedback.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests here. I'd like to speak to you about the plight of refugees. But actually, I'm trying to convince you through the story that, in fact, the future lies with refugees. First, let me talk about the definition of a refugee. And this is not a textbook definition, but a refugee is somebody that left their country and they are not able to go back to their country because of fear of persecution, for the reason, because on the basis of racial discrimination or political view or social membership to some social group, or just for their views. So it's not a typical criminal. And according to the United Nations, 69% of the population of the refugees of the world come from just 5 countries. Do you want to guess what those countries are?
Turkey.
No? Syria. Thank you. Who said Syria? Syria is correct. No? Zimbabwe, no?
Nigeria.
No? Online? Any guesses online? Ukraine.
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, yes, that's correct. So let me help you. The 5 countries are Myanmar, Afghanistan, Syria, South Sudan.
I say one. What about Zimbabwe?
No, surprisingly. Yeah. And South Sudan, I said South, and Venezuela. That was a surprising one. So that's 69% of the refugees of the world come from those countries. Now, I'd like to talk to you about 3 people. I don't know if any of you remember the story of a picture of a child, a little boy, naked. Actually, he was, I think, he's half naked, bending like on the ground, and next to him there's a big vulture, clearly about to attack him. That boy comes from South Sudan, and at the time he was below the age of 7. At the time there was famine in his village. The history of the conflict in South Sudan is complicated, and I would encourage you to investigate it and you make sure that you get it from different sources. That boy was walking with his family towards a feeding point, and he was tired and he decided to take a break. Long story short is that Kevin Carter took his picture, and fortunately the boy made it. He wasn't devoured by the vulture, because after taking the picture, after waiting for 20 minutes for the vulture to come close enough to the boy so that he can take a picture, that is dramatic, Kevin chased away the vulture. And the boy, we are told, lived up until the age of 14. Unfortunately, he died from malaria. So he didn't make it. He didn't manage to leave his country. Then the next story that I'd like to tell you about is that of Khashoggi. Khashoggi didn't come from a poor background. He had all the resources. He came from Saudi Arabia, but because of his political views, he criticized the crown prince. And Khashoggi had to leave his country and take refuge in Turkey. But unfortunately, he was killed while visiting the Saudi Arabian embassy to collect his documents. So he was killed, unfortunately. So that is another refugee who was not able, who tried to do something but could not make it. Our main story for me is Dr. Emmanuel Taban. Dr. Emmanuel Taban, also from South Sudan. You can see how South Sudan accounts for most of the refugees. Dr. Emmanuel Taban made a breakthrough in the fight of COVID-19. He came up with a mucus extraction technique, which up until today, the World Health Organization has not approved. But he took a risk because he knew what struggling is, and he could relate to those people who couldn't breathe. And he has come up with a foundation where he could make sure that health services are available at a reasonable cost to a lot of people. Now, I'm saying the future lies with refugees because it is a refugee, ultimately, that came up with the only solution in the whole world to save people from COVID-19. And unfortunately, as I said, until today, the World Health Organization has not endorsed it. We, the people who are not refugees, we, the people who are comfortable in our countries, are too cowardly to risk anything. For me, the future lies with refugees. Fellow Toastmasters, I hope I have intrigued you with that speech so that you can know, or maybe you can encourage yourselves to break the barriers and be courageous. Thank you.
Thank you, Tandika. I think many of us are now going to go and Google and find more information of refugees, because there certainly is an area that I really, it's just a word to me, but now I think if we go and do a search. Thank you for inspiring me there. So where are we now? I don't have the agenda because of my computer is with virus. What's the next? Okay.
5-minute break.
Oh.
Break, and then can we go to our evaluation session?
Okay, is everybody happy? How long should we have? 5-10 minutes?
Dino, would you like to do a communal evaluation or a breakout room?
Tanya, I'm just thinking of the time, and so we've got 3 speeches to evaluate, and then we've got also table topics. So I would suggest, we can do a breakaway because I've got my cell phone and I can, and Godfrey's online. So yeah, it's literally just me leaving the room to do the evaluation. So I would say let's do a 5-minute comfort break, and then we carry on with table topics whilst you, me, Godfrey can go outside and do a evaluation of the 3.
Okay. Perfect. I'll see you there.
If you want to join us, we can do that. Anybody wants to join us outside, you're more than welcome. The people online, that's great.
Yeah.
And Tanya, can you just please make me a co-host, please?
I'm not sure I know how to do that, but I will try. Can you guide me?
But let's take a
And I don't have my glasses, so you have to be very careful.
Shall we do table topics in the meantime, or?
Yeah, comfort break 5 minutes. We'll come back, and then you can carry on with table topics.
Sure. Oh, by the way, do we have a table topics master? Once again, I apologize that I don't have any.
I volunteer.
You volunteer to be the table topics master. Thank you, Tandeka. Appreciate that. Okay, would you like to start and give it a go, but finish your meal first? In 5 minutes time. Okay, no, that's. Thank you.
Dino, just tell me how to make you co-host, because I need some help here.
Okay, so
at the bottom of my screen.
So go to participants.
Yes.
Click on my name, which is more. Actually, first, can you just let my PC in, please? Under participants, you go under, there should be a PC number there. You can let me in there.
Okay, I can see this thing. It says make co-host.
Yes, please.
There you go. I am going to try one more time to find my glasses.
Horsey, I see your hand is up. Breathe. With all of the dazzles there. Okay, cool, lovely. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to speak or is there someone else still speaking?
You're welcome to speak.
Thank you very much. I actually, on the program, I am the table topics master, so I'm not sure whether I've been fired from that role.
No.
Yes, I just want to confirm the program that I have, even though my name is spelled terribly incorrect. I am the table topics master, and I just heard from the venue that there's someone who volunteered to be a table topic master. I just want to correct that so that I don't.
Hey, listen. How do we pronounce your name properly?
It's Bali.
Bali.
I think it's a spelling as well that we probably have wrong.
She's going to be on table topics. Okay.
So you are going to entertain us just now, I guess, in Bali.
Yes.
Excellent.
That's what I'm going to do. As soon as I get the go ahead, I'm not sure I can hear a lot of, sorry, I'm hearing a noise in my background, so I'm not sure should I proceed? How's everything?
Okay, and Dino, I'm sorry, are you opening up, who's Zoom master, who's sergeant at arms? Are we going into a breakout room? Are we doing a group evaluation? I'm sorry, I need some guidance here, because I would like to
Yeah.
participate in table topics as well.
Okay, cool. Just there's a lot going on at the moment. Just give me a second.
I absolutely know that. So, Impu, I'm not quite sure if I'm saying that right. It's unbelievable when you don't have your glasses. I didn't realize how bad my sight is until I've had to have a meeting without my glasses on, and it's really, really challenging. So I'm not quite sure if you're listening at the moment.
I am, Tanya. Hopefully the eye drops are helping.
Yeah, I put them in, but they're not really helping that much. I need to find where my glasses are.
For me, it's the first thing, so maybe by your bedside.
No, I've checked all of that. I don't know what's happened. But anyway.
Where your spares? Where your spares? You should have spares.
I do have spares, but they're from Dischem and they are terrible.
Terrible. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, I can kind of see you all. Okay, breakout room is open. I'm trying to see, is it open?
Sorry, Tanya, I'm trying to open up a room, but I don't see the option on my screen. Just give me a sec.
Okay.
Apologies, can I please suggest something? I think the evaluations are beneficial for not only just the speakers, but for everyone who's in the room. So I would, looking at the challenges that we're having with the technology, I would really suggest that we stay in this room, we do the evaluations here, so that we can all benefit from them, and also just carry on with the meetings so we can have a smooth flow of the meeting. Already having challenges, so I don't think we should maybe add on to that.
I think that's a great idea. And you guys can go get your breakfast, so those who are in the physical space. So can I ask the evaluators to start speaking? I'll start first because mine was the first speech.
Yeah, sorry, Tanya, let me just make that official in the room here. Thank you. Thanks, guys. So, Adrian, sorry, guys. We're going to have to carry out the evaluation session in the room. Sorry, my cell phone's connected to this thing, and that laptop's showing here. And so, can you, the prepared speakers, please enjoy yourself outside. Then order yourself a cup of coffee or a little juice or an ice cream. That'll be great. And everybody else, just keep yourself entertained for the next. Tanya, is 10 minutes sufficient?
I think we can do it. I think we can do it in 5 because we're behind schedule.
Okay. It is 3 speeches. I'm going to stick it to 10. Sorry.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fine. I will follow your lead.
If we finish Tuna, we'll call them back in.
Perfect.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Over to you, Tanya. Go for it.
So I'm doing this like right now.
Yes.
Okay. The most important thing about evaluating a person's delivery of a speech is the attitude, word of the day, that you take to feedback, and attitude is everything. So I had the privilege of evaluating Chuma's speech, Do It Anyway.
Yeah, Tanya,
and the big goal,
to make sure that you understand what's going on here. It is a matter of, we're doing the round robin evaluations whereby we're just going to give each other feedback whilst the other speakers are outside the room. So we just give each other little pointers before doing your evaluation session.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Perfect, got it. So from my perspective, I thought the the goal that was put out was to speak without notes, and I think that was really, really well done. It's one of my mentors is Mkita Boya, and she says, "Do it scared, just do it." And scary was made mention of, and I think do it scared, just do it is a lovely mantra for many of us at Toastmasters. There was a whole session on like the what if, people's opinions, never listen to them, believe in yourself, change. Motivational speaking at Toastmasters is huge. The one thing that did not come across that I was asked to listen for was humor. So humor, still, I don't know if you guys found anything very humorous, but humor is something that obviously Chuma wants to work on more. Risk looking like a fool. Fear versus humor. I think risk looking like a fool is something that can be built on to try and elevate the humor and the funny side of speaking. And it's not easy. And I find putting humor into speaking or speeches very difficult. So I think it was well done. It was timed correctly, I think. I'm not quite sure on the exact time, but I think it was timed correctly and motivational. So who would like to add to that?
Tanya, just from my side, he has an interesting way of adding humor into his speech. I don't know if you picked up right in the beginning, he actually said, I'm going to try my best to say a speech without notes out of this big dome of mine. So it was a self-deprecating humor, which is, to be honest, you're vulnerable standing up here and then you make a joke about yourself. So that's just like, yeah, you have to be a very confident person to be doing that to yourself. So that's my 2 cents with regard to that. But I enjoyed the way that he was presenting and making eye contact with the room members. Just something to work on. He does have this tendency to look down as though he's pondering. It could be seen as maybe a crutch because he was doing it quite a bit, but that could be something that he's, instead of saying whilst I'm saying I've got a lot of filler words, he does that, and that could be something that he wants to, maybe if he wants to add that to his speech, yes, do it intentionally, but if not, it's just something that I personally identified on him with regards to his speech. But otherwise, it's
very interesting because I had a coaching session yesterday, and I make notes. So I think people think I'm looking down, but I think you guys are obviously physical, or you get more feedback than I do. But the looking down thing has become more and more of a item that's been discussed at Toastmasters and coaching and mentoring. We have this thing that we drop our eyes. So yeah, I take that note. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Bali?
I see there's a hand raised.
Yes, yes. I wanted to speak on the humor that you mentioned, Tanya. That what I picked up on his speech was that he said that he's going to try and do a speech without the notes and see if he can memorize what he's going to say, because he is able to memorize who owes him. And for me, that was like humor. You don't forget who owe you, right? So you can memorize a speech. I mean, so to me, that I found that to be humorous.
That's funny because I only got that joke now.
me too, to be honest. So I take humor as joking, like like funny jokes, but you're right, humor comes in many forms.
Yeah,
I need to put that.
you can actually reverse that and say, it's funny how people forget that they owe you until they see you like, oh, by the way, I haven't forgotten about you. So that's how I looked at it.
Okay, I'll try weave that in, and you're welcome to chip in and say something because you're absolutely right. I think he did try. Yeah, well, that was good. All right, anyone else?
I don't see any hands being raised.
Good.
Okay.
Let's go on to the next. The next speech was.
Sure. It is my evaluator. I was the evaluator from
Yes.
Gadi
Yes.
with regards to the illegal fuel. So she gave us, with her introduction, she caught us immediately with regards to 2 questions, waiting for people to raise their hands or not, and asking really interesting, different questions to see how people got, just to get their responses. So engaging the room. And that was one of the things from the last speech. Then she started off by she started her speech then, just giving us a lowdown on exactly what is required, what she's going to be presenting, which is great. She did that right at the top, which I really enjoyed, because I'm like, okay, this is what we're going into. But then she used that term multiple times, whereby she said, okay, there's environmental issues, and there's 2 stories I'm going to tell you about Durban. There was an agricultural spillage and a Joburg spillage. And then she went on to, there's a hazardous issue. And I'm going to tell you about, break it down for you. So it's as if she didn't get into those stories and go into details. So it was a matter of just the way that she explained that, rather than saying, I'm going to go into these stories, it's rather than just mentioning environmental issues, there's diesel spillages and it affects life. Next thing, next action, next item. So it's just a matter of a little bit of structure there, maybe explaining her speech, which she must maybe think about when she's presenting. And then right at the bottom, I love the way that she, with regards to her conclusion, wrapping up her whole speech into a package, and then ending on an action step, which was that's the right way to do it. Really, it makes me want to do more. And then with regards to improvements, good audience awareness, and her facial expressions were really engaging, kept me interested. And then just with regards to, it did feel natural, which she wanted us to evaluate. But the one thing is with this hand gestures, they were very jumping around.
Okay. I missed the hand gestures, but I had the luxury of hearing her first speech on illegal fuel trading, and I think she was, she was much more forceful. She was far more focused, and I think a massive improvement in her content, her passion, and her effective messaging. And she left us with a takeaway, which I didn't understand before on her first speech, about paraffin and diesel being mixed and become dangerous. So I think she has worked really hard on her speech. Yeah.
Sorry, Tanya, you said was she forceful?
I think she was much more forceful. She was more focused, and it was a massive improvement in terms of content, her passion, and effective messaging.
Okay, cool, lovely. I love that. I'm going to steal that.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. Then to Tandeka.
Okay,
oh,
cool.
sorry, yes. Anyone else? Anyone else from the forum?
Hands, no, cool.
Perfect. Then let's go to Tandeka. 5 countries, South Sudan. Wow. That was a very emotional speech for me.
Over to Godfrey.
Yes, Godfrey, give us your view.
Right. So the purpose of the speech was to use a story to drive a speech forward, or to actually tell to make a speech about a story. And so Tandega gave us 3 stories on refugees, the boy with the vulture, and then Jamal Khashoggi, and then Dr. Emmanuel from South Sudan. So I thought all these stories achieved one thing, which was basically highlighting the plight of refugees. But the first 2 stories didn't go the distance in terms of what she wanted to do with the purpose of the speech, which is to show the life-changing impact that refugees can have on the host countries that they will be in. So the first boy didn't leave South Sudan. The second one died in Turkey. She didn't go further to explain who Khashoggi is, but I know he was a journalist, but I'm not too sure about his achievements in Turkey up until his murder. But I do know that he was someone who was quite remarkable. But in the story, in the speech, his story didn't go so far as to show us what did he do in Turkey, how did that help Turkey. But with Dr. Emmanuel, it was quite different. We saw that he was a refugee and that he had a hard life, but also we saw the life-changing impact that he had not only on his host country, which he didn't tell us, but she didn't need to, because we could tell that his invention had an impact worldwide. And so the third story really was the story that was needed. The first 2 stories ended up taking a lot of time from her. And if she had just focused on this one story, it would have really worked well with the purpose of the speech. But I can hear from others your thoughts on the 3 stories.
I always think that there's sometimes too much information is too much information. So I totally get your point about one story in depth would be more impactful. But I think she was trying to cover the whole refugee issue. But I do think maybe she should have chosen one character.
Just on
Anyone
my side,
else?
with regards to timing of the speech, we should have had the report before going to this evaluation session. It did seem like it was a very short time that she had. It didn't seem like it was 7 minutes. But
It did seem so. I was very worried about that, whether the timer had gotten the timing right. But I did see the report here on our chat box. It says Tandega had used 6 minutes 21 seconds. It seems incredible to me, because that's quite long, but it was so short in the speech, and I'm not too sure why.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Godfrey, is with regards to, she had 3 speeches, 3 stories that she wanted to go into a little bit more detail, but she couldn't be able to. So I think like she was just spread too thin on all those stories. So maybe that'll be
There was also an audience participation in it, and that takes time to draw all the answers as we were trying to name the 5 countries. That really took a lot of time. And then I think by the time she went into the 3 stories, we were already maybe on 4 minutes or so.
Yeah, you see, it's You don't. I don't know how to actually plan that in. How do you prepare that in? That when you ask questions like that, it's really hard. But, something to the next time. Cool.
Okay, are we done? Can we go back?
Yeah.
Table topics.
Lovely. Okay.
Still no glasses.
Yeah. Can I ask you a favor? Can you please make my PC host?
I thought I did that already.
I actually made myself. My PC's name is Dino Lupi.
Oh, so there's 2 versions of you here. Dino, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that.
this table topic again? Okay, welcome back, everybody. And there was table topics time. And in Bali, can you take over as table topics master of the day? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Good morning, everyone. Today's theme is your attitude, not your aptitude, decides or determines your altitude. And as we are wrapping up the Women's Month, I would like you to join me as we're having a talk show with the women and the men in this room. Today, we are discussing the attitude issue that we're facing, and to call on the virtual stage is Professor of the Slay Queens, that is Godfrey Penduga. Please join us on the virtual stage as we talk about the attitude that is surrounding the woman's need to be seen, to be valued, and to be appreciated. Godfrey, my first question to you is, having seen how is Godfrey? Hi. Oh, there, Godfrey, thank you very much. Remember, people, if it's not fun, it's not Toastmasters. So if I call you by Professor, that's your title for today. Okay, that's your title. Okay, you better bring in that attitude with you. Right, Professor of the Slay Queens. Sir, there's been a lot of confusion in how women are presenting themselves. From the winner of Miss Universe 2019, Zozimbi Litunzi, she mentioned that women needs to take up space in the society and women need to learn leadership. My question to you, as a man in South Africa, what do you think it's one thing that women needs to do who are raising a boy child to become a man that is allowing women to be in the space? What do you think it's that one thing as a man that women needs to do when they raise a boy child, so that it makes sure that men allow women to be in the space? Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Miriam, Table Topics Master. Like so many young Black men, I was raised by a single mother myself. And so sometimes I really get confused when I hear that women need to be allowed to do something, because the women I know who raised up quite a lot of people like me in our communities are very capable women, and women who did not wait for men who had run away, but took up the mantle by themselves, and they did it. So I think what we do have at the moment is a narrative that's pushed around that firstly, men must unlock some sort of lock that's been put in place to allow women to progress. I think women must realize this, that the power lies in themselves. They are powerful, and they basically, there is no nation without the women in South Africa. There are no families without the women in South Africa. Basically, there is no life without women in South Africa. And so to need someone who is incapable of unlocking you, to unlock you, is really drawing back on the strengths that women have. I'm by no means pouring water on some of the limitations that systems have put in place against women. I do realize that quite a lot has been done to discourage women, but I would really want to encourage women to say a lot is being done already. Keep going, keep working hard, and aim for the stars. You can do it. Back to you, Miriam, Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, sir. I love what you said, that you don't need someone to unlock you. Let us talk about now this unlocking. So if you can just pay attention to what we're talking about today, this morning, we're talking about the attitude that women have when we come to all those limitations that have been set on us, or what I want to call it, the limitation that we have accepted. This is the attitude that women have, that men have set a lot of limits to us. And as you have mentioned, Sir Professor of the Slay Queens, that it is not, you were raised by women who were grabbing this power. And I want to move over to Mpompo. You are the chairman of the Blessers. You are all about men not handling anything, not having any luck. Mpo, can you please tell me, what is the one thing that women that are raising boys, especially, what is the one thing that women that are raising boys should stop doing in order for us to not find ourselves in this situation where we are saying men have the power, have limited? What is that one thing that women that are raising boys should stop doing to avoid this bubble of biasness? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Madam Table Topics Master. That's such a very good question. There's so many things, but when I was growing up, and I grew up, I'm a middle child, and I've got an older brother and a younger brother. And the basics of just be self-sufficient as a boy, as a young boy. Do the cleaning. It's not a gender-specific activity. Do the cooking. It's very easy to segregate or create that bias from an early age because no, the girls are doing this, the boys are doing that. And so from an early age, if we could help the young boy and the young girl just do activities together, that would definitely help them understand that we are all equal and therefore we have every right and every ability to be a parent. A parent is not just a mother. A parent is not just someone that wakes up and feeds the child and changes the child and does all these things. The father is also a parent and he can do exactly that. So from a young age, that definitely can happen. Thank you so much, Madam Table Topics Master. Over back to you.
Thank you very much, Mpo. Of course, stop creating this biasness to say that this is for a certain gender. Tanya, I'm sure you can agree with me here that most oftenly we tend to neglect the boy child. And this is the attitude of women. They say that the married, especially married women, will say that I'm not here to raise a man. I'm not here to be your mother. However, we as mothers have not done enough to show the boy child. We have not created the kind of attitude in a boy child to say that I am able to gel with the society. We have left the boy child not to raise, but to raise himself. Now, this is the question to you. With all the gender and the gender inequality that women say they face, do you think that women are not in a position to accept their role in creating this problem?
I am probably not going to answer this the way you expect. I believe that there is such power in the female DNA that we need to help the boy child, as you call it, with their attitude and aptitude towards life. And the one thing I'm going through myself at the moment is understanding vulnerability. And I think the boy child, if there's one gift I could give, I've got 5 godchildren. If there's one gift I could give to them, it would be to help them embrace vulnerability, which I think as women, we do very easily or easier. I don't do it easily, but I'm working on it. But vulnerability is one of the techniques of the future, I think. And the most powerful voice of the future is not going to be whether you are a scientist or a mathematician or a doctor. It's going to be about communication.
Oh, yes.
So the baseline for communication, if you really want to get down to proper communication, is vulnerability. And if you can make yourself vulnerable, you can engage in conversations that are more powerful than anything you could ever experience. And yeah, that's like, as I said, you weren't going to expect that answer, and I am absolutely not normal, but vulnerability is the key to everything, and it's a female quality that I think children or child would be fantastic to pass on to. Thank
Trust me, darling. Trust me, darling. Trust me, darling. You and I on the same boat here. I really expected that from you. That's why I picked you for that. Of course. And what I loved and I want to echo again is that the future of communication is not going to be based on the title that you hold. It's not based on the position that you hold in the company. It's based on the ability of being open and being open enough for you to show both your sides. I have learned that for us to be able to face ourselves, we have to face the good and the bad in us. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time, I want to close this, but before I close, I want to say that we as women have the attitude that we want to be seen instead of being remembered. What I have learned from my late mom is that she said to me, when you are a woman with power, you have to understand that you become a person who wakes up with determination and goes to bed with satisfaction. And how you do that is you start unknown, but you finish unforgettable. Most of you here do not know me, but from today, you will never forget me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this talk show. My name is Mbali Nkosi. I have been your table topics master for today. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for participating. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
I think, Mbali, thank you very much for your handling of the table topics. Master or mistress, I'm not quite sure, but it was certainly enlightening. I'm glad you didn't ask me any questions. But I think that session went very well. I think all the ladies.
Next time.
So let's move on. What are we on to now? We're on to the evaluation session. Who's chairing the evaluation?
It's me.
Can you sort of take over as the evaluation chair? Thank you very much.
Yeah. And Mbali has just caught me in so off guard. So I'm like a broken wreck at the moment. So well done, girl. Okay, so I have the privilege of introducing the evaluators who have put time and effort into speeches delivered by very, very brave people. And again, I want to come back to attitude, the word of the day. The attitude of this club is amazing, and it's an absolute privilege to be part of it. So the first, there's that word, grammarian, I said so. Chuma, do it anyway. The whole focus of the session, when I heard from Dino this morning, was to speak without notes. And that was the goal. And I think you did it really well. And I have a friend of mine, her name is Zimkita Bua, and she says that do it scared, just do it. So you say do it anyway. She says do it scared, just do it. And I'm scared of a lot of this kind of stuff. So I relate to that whole thing. You went through a lot of like what if scenarios, not paying attention to people's opinions, never listen to them, believe in yourself, understand change. You are motivational. And the one thing that was suggested was to see if humor can come into the speech. And I struggled to see the humor, but my fellow evaluators were really good. And they said to me during our session that humor comes in many forms. And they found some humor in some of your statements or sentences. Risk looking like a fool. I thought that was fantastic. And the only one I have in terms of improvement, and it's a fault I have myself, and I'm doing it right now, is I'm looking down where I should be actually looking at you. So we've got to learn on hybrid to look at each other versus looking down. So it's the only area of improvement, but I think it was incredibly well delivered. I think your time, I'm not sure about the timing, but I think your time was pretty spot on. And I thank you for a wonderful speech that resonated with me. Now I have to call on my other evaluators. Second up. Oh wait, I'm not hearing anything. Hello? Have I lost my speaker?
No, we're there. Here we go.
Okay, good. Dino, I think it's you. Go. Yeah, the ceremony of.
Hey.
Thank you for reminding me about that.
Not a big. Ngadi, you know what? I'm actually really happy that I was able to evaluate your speech this time round. I'm actually a little bit disappointed I missed the last one, but thankfully, one of my evaluators was present during your first speech, and she said that this speech you started off with your forceful, focused, and your content was completely improved and during the speech. So that was her impression from the two speeches, which was great. And one of the things that you asked me to evaluate was were you calm? How were you up there? Did you feel like I've got this, it's fine? For me, you felt very comfortable up there. It was great. It was great to see. And you know what I really loved was from just reading through your previous evaluations, you started off with a question and got people engaged. And you got people thinking already about, okay, well, fuel, do I smell it? You actually at the petrol station. I was in Italy 2 weeks ago, and it's the first time I've actually put a hose in my car, and I filled up my own car. It's nerve-wracking because I don't know if there's stuff going to shoot out, but it made me think of that and get people engaged, that's the way you want to start a speech. So perfect, carry on. And I also liked about your speech was that as you got us engaged, and you told us exactly what is the content that you're going to be talking about. It's nice to get us primed. Like any good motor car, you want to start it and let it idle, get warm, and then you hit into it. Just moving into, so now we understand where you're going to flow. I want you to think about when you introduced the topic, like the environmental issues. You said something along the lines of, I've got a story to tell you. A diesel spillage, I think it was in KwaZulu-Natal, but it was affected agriculture. And then I've got another story to tell you. Another diesel spillage here in Joburg. And then you went into hazards. Where's the story? I want you to go into detail and talk about how the people are being affected. Maybe you did go into that, but it wasn't. I just felt a little bit lost when you did that explanation. But I understood what you were explaining and the different topics, and I really enjoyed it about how you went into environmental issues, the hazards, and the actual thievery behind it. And I loved the way that you concluded. The way that you wrapped everything up in a little bow and told us what the actual problems were within the talk, and then a cherry on top of that little cream that you created was the action. What action do we have to take as civilians or citizens going forward? So going forward, let's just make sure that your hand gestures are meaningful. I've got this problem where I kind of go all over the place with them. It should be down here or the priest position. more emphasized. But I did see that you had two, you were using those two hand gestures. Okay. Another good thing, I do see it's red. Last one, I love the way that you did change your vocal variety to keep us engaged in the talk. So thank you very much for that speech, and I look forward for your next speech to see the rest of this journey. It's going to be good. Thank you.
So as evaluation chair, I get to mess with the program a lot. And Dino, you did very well there with your gestures, by the way. So just some feedback. Yes, there we go. Nice one, dude. All right, Godfrey, you're up next. Thandeka delivered an amazingly emotional speech, and we would like to hear your feedback.
Thank you so much to everyone, especially to you, Thandeka, for that remarkable speech. I want to give you 3 feedbacks. One, to tell you the things you did well, and then secondly, what you may want to work on, and then thirdly, a challenge. So what you did well on. Firstly, you pulled us in as the audience to participate in the speech by asking us to tell you 5 countries that have contributed to the majority of refugees. And we were proved wrong because we thought that Zimbabwe and Nigeria would be up there, only for us to find out that Myanmar, Venezuela, Syria, Afghanistan, South Sudan are the top contributors to the refugee crisis. So thank you so much for that. We were educated. Secondly, you pulled 3 remarkable stories that will stay with us for a long time. The Boy and the Vulture, Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist, and Dr. Emmanuel. Thirdly, you also did well on the call to action, which has inspired us to rethink our stance on refugees. And I think the Toastmaster of the day summed it up for us well when he said that before today, refugees was just a word. Now it's something positive to think about. Secondly, what you may want to work on. I really thought that pulling 3 stories was a tall order because of the time that you had. And I think having one story that was going to feed into your overall speech objective would have worked better. The first 2 stories, the first one of the boy and the vulture, the boy didn't get to leave his country, and yet your speech purpose needed him to do that. And the second one, with Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist, you didn't highlight what he had achieved in Turkey, but you highlighted his relationship with his home country, Saudi Arabia. But I really felt that the Dr. Emmanuel story went as far as the speech purpose needed it to. And if you had concentrated on Dr. Emmanuel alone, that you would have actually gotten a great story that matched your speech purpose, and you would have had a far better outcome in the end. I also have a challenge for you, Madam President. I think starting your speech with a massive impact, with an introduction that brings in a massive impact, will help us to sit up and listen. An example of this would be, one man rescued us from a more devastating situation with COVID-19 through his invention. He was a refugee. Now we're all sitting up thinking, what's going on? And you've already highlighted in that statement 2 things that you want to talk about: the plight or the refugee status and the world-changing impact. So putting all these 2 together, I think it would have really done well as an introduction. Otherwise, well done on the speech that you gave, Thandeka, and wish you all the best in your future speeches. Back to you, Madam Lead Evaluator.
Thank you, Godfrey. And I think you're right. The power of the opening is so, so important. And Thandeka's speech was, incredible. But I think that the power of the opening is something that we can all work on. It leaves an impact, it's immediate, and it gives consideration to the next 5 to 7 minutes that you're going to be speaking to. So thank you very much for your feedback, Godfrey. I think my job here is done. Dino lost the sound again, by the way.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So I found the meeting today to be really
Tanya, yeah, thank you
fantastic.
very much. And also your team of evaluators there. I think you had us all in deep thought in terms of the situations that we sometimes find ourselves in.
Thank you, Adrian.
I tried to look at as I said, my computer was hacked. So I tried to write down what do I do next? Reports from the different role players. Oh boy, help me. Okay. Yeah, okay. Timekeeper, can you tell us the times taken for the speeches that you heard today, please?
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. So for the speeches, the prepared speeches, Kuma completed his speech in 4 minutes, 59 seconds. Very great attitude from him. Mangadi completed her speech in 6 minutes, 35 seconds. Very great aptitude from her as well. And Tandega completed her speech in 6 minutes, 21 seconds. Great aptitude and attitude from Tandega. Then the table topics, Godfrey completed his speech in 1 minute, 40 seconds. Paul, myself, 1 minute, 15 seconds, and Tanya, 2 minutes and 2 seconds. And with the evaluations that we had just now, Tanya completed in 2 minutes, 20 seconds, Dino, 3 minutes, 56 seconds, and Godfrey, 3 minutes, 15 seconds. So we had over time just from the evaluators. Otherwise, everyone was within their times. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Okay, thank you very much. The next person, I think, who was our counter of the day? Yes, Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good morning once again, fellow Toastmasters, visitors, and guests. Please allow me to be short and brief with my reports due to the time. I'm gonna start with the counter report. Okay, that's me. Breathe in and out. The following people have used quite a number of arms and airs. Please look out for them. I'm not gonna go in numbers. Tanya, Adrian, Sandeka, Dino, Godfrey, Mpo. Please look out for the crutch words when you are speaking. Gonna go to the grammarian report. The good use of English language was used mostly today. I'll start with Kuma. Kuma, you have used words adopt simplicity, fear of change, risk looking like a fool, step to the new world in the midst of fear. And Mangadi, posing risks, it robs the poor. Taneka, the future lies within refugees. Break the barriers and be courageous. The word of the day, the following people have used the word attitude. Kuma, you have used that 2 times. Mbali, 5 times. Tanya, 4 times. Mpo, 3 times. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Right, this is where I call upon Dina to help me again. What was next on the agenda there? Do we on a point? Anybody any points to make?
Yes, hi.
Anybody online would like to make a point?
Yes, it's Mbali here. I would like to give the grammarian and the R counter a report. Madam R counter, you use R more than 5 times during your feedback. Thank you.
That's funny.
Thanks, buddy.
Is anybody else?
Okay, I think
There's nothing else.
there's nothing else. Tandeka, would you like to sort of close up for us, please?
Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much, Adrian, our Toastmaster, for that sterling job. And our guests online, the table topics master, was it Mbali or Mpho? Mbali, yes. Thank you so much for that sterling project that you did. I'd like to also thank our area director, Mr. Godfrey. Thank you so much for making the time to come, and thank you so much for that valuable feedback. And indeed, one man rescued us during COVID-19, and that man is a refugee. I'm working on it, Mr. Area Director. Thank you for it. But I must say, I would take my takeaway. I mean, I was inspired by all the speeches. I'm really inspired so much, and I hope we can all take this away with us. Wake up with a determination and go to bed with satisfaction, right? Yes. That's Mbali's mother. And that doesn't mean find someone called satisfaction. So with that, members and our guests, I thank you so much for coming to our meeting. I declare the meeting closed. Good. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Can I play that song once again?
Yes, please. Tanya, nice to see your eyes.
So Adrian, you've got to show the actual video, right?
Nearly died. I stood on that podium, and all that I could say was I felt so dumb, but now just look how far I've come. Yeah, I start strong, and I'm prepared. Go on now, throw me crazy table topics. I'm not even scared. Thanks to Toastmaster support, I know how to keep it short. When they turn that red light on, I know I'll get a good report. Cause I got friends who help me succeed. Toastmasters grant. They give me confidence to lead. When I was asked to take the floor and speak a Clyde, did you think I'd tremble? Do you think my
Can you guys see the video? I'm gonna share it.
Toastmasters pride, and he helped me find the courage that was buried deep inside. I've got lots of honest folk who help me with my jokes. Yeah, I got pride. Toastmasters pride.
There were times when I lost faith and I began to doubt. It seemed like there were no more topics left to talk about. All my courage disappeared. All my metaphors were weird, but I persevered. Toastmasters Toastmasters help me face my fears. Now you see me, a DTM. I'm so distinguished, I can lecture with the best of them. I got my timing to a G, and my grammarian loves me. And I can stand up self-assured and just be who I want to be. I once was bad. I couldn't toast. I used to blink a lot. I used to stand there like a post. Was I the one who had trouble saying hi? Still I tremble. You think I'm still so awfully shy? Oh no, not I. Toastmaster Pride. I'm much stronger and I'm looking forward to my pathways ride. I can land that perfect gig. I can start a thing real big because I've got pride. Toastmaster.
I'm doing it, yeah. I am.
Oh, is it?
No, she's gone. How